September 11th, 2001, remembered on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's September 11th, 2013. I'm Sarah Colvin. Hello everyone, I'm Sarah Colvin here at the Hyannis Fire Station in downtown Hyannis, where today was held a remembrance ceremony to remember the tragic events of September 11th, 2001. Today we'll show you scenes from that remembrance ceremony as well as talk with Chief Brunell about the importance of remembering that day.
Good morning. Commissioners, officers, members of the fire service, family, friends, and citizens. As Chief of the Hyannis Fire Department, I welcome you this morning to join us in our memorial service marking the 12th anniversary of the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001, and the loss of nearly 3,000 lives at the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. In your thoughts and prayers this morning, please take a special moment to remember not only those that were killed that day, but pray for the firefighters, the police officers, and the men and women in all of the branches of the military who continue to serve and protect us each and every day. May we be grateful for their service, for the services that they provide, and may we ensure that the memories of those we have lost will continue to live on in all of us. They are not and shall not ever be forgotten. Tolling of the bells is a long-standing tradition of the fire service. It signifies many, many things. Going to different kinds of emergency calls, where the location is. Sometimes in the cities they have it all lined up in grids, and the tolling of the bells sometimes tells you what kind of call it is and where the location is. And 5555 is the signal for the last alarm when a firefighter has been killed on the line of duty. I'm going to call upon firefighter Nate Coughlin to toll the bells and signify the last alarm. Nate?
I wish you could have seen the faces of 3 small children I led on a tour of this station this past summer. When we arrived in the foyer as they were preparing to leave, I pointed to this memorial and asked if they knew what it might be. The oldest boy, probably 7 or 8 years old, said it was from that building that fell. They all just stared at me when I told them where it came from. They fell quiet for a moment, and then they asked if they could touch it. This is so much more than just a piece of metal and wood. It represents history, our nation's history. It represents those firefighters, those men and women in the arena. It shows new firefighters what sacrifice means, what their predecessors did before them. No matter how many anniversaries I attend, for a moment, I remember that feeling of horror that I had when I realized that firefighters were in those buildings when they collapsed. Firefighters in the arena. So each time we dress in this Honor Guard uniform, we do so to represent not only Hyannis firefighters, but also firefighters across this nation. And each time we look at that memorial, we will remember. God bless you all.
I'm here with Hyannis Fire Chief Brunell. It's September 11th, of course, commemorating the events of that day 12 years ago. Talk to me, Chief, a little bit about why it's important to have this as sort of a remembrance ceremony.
Well, you know, so many things in our lives, I think especially true for Americans, we like to move fast all the time and move on, and you just have a tendency to you get so caught up in your day-to-day life that you have a tendency to forget things, you know, and we don't ever want to forget what happened that day. It was a terrible tragedy for our nation, and the members of the citizens, almost 3,000 were killed, and public safety people, firefighters, police, and they took an extra hard hit that day, you know, and as Lieutenant Knowlton said in his remarks, was, you know, they went to work that morning, and as we do every day, and those guys had no idea what was going to happen, and that symbolizes what our job is about. You know, not every day, fortunately, is a bad day. We have a lot of good days. But some days we have horrible days, and that was one of them. So we don't ever want to forget that. Not only as an American, we don't want to forget it, just as a citizen. As we think back, like on Pearl Harbor Day, the same kind of thing. But now you couple the fact of the fire service into that, and it's even more important for us doing our job. We want to think about, never forget those guys.
Absolutely, and it really does, as you say, serve as a reminder of just what can happen, you know, on a day, and you just going to work. It's just It's just part of the job.
Exactly. You know, and so what we try to do is we just try to take a few minutes each September 11th. You know, we have some prayers we like to say, and just some words. Few things. We don't want to make it too sad, you know. It is because this is also a celebration of life that comes after, you know, and hopefully some good things have happened out of that tragedy. You know, hopefully we've learned how to be a little safer, not only in our country but also as firefighters. You know, hopefully we can learn some different techniques about how to approach a terrorist situation. So maybe, God forbid, if it ever happens again, we won't be as vulnerable. We'll know how to work around those things a little better. So we're celebrating moving forward also, not just what happened in the past.
Absolutely. Certainly lessons to be learned and things to be taken away. Before I let you, I wanted to ask you about the piece of steel that you have. I believe you got that last year.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about what people's impressions are when they come here to the Hyannis Fire Department and are able to see and touch and experience that.
That's exactly what happens. I mean, you know, you may see some of that this morning. Sometimes people walk by it a couple of times and then they go back to it. It kind of like pulls you over there. It's like a magnetic, you know. And then they touch it, and it just has this feeling that comes over you. It's like, you know, when you realize where it came from, and you start thinking about everything that happened, and you know, and here we have it right here, a piece of it. You know, because I was watching a show about the museum that they're building in New York last night, and like they were saying, there's, you know, that site is really it's a graveyard. There's people that are entombed there, and that piece of steel was from that site, that very site, and you know, so it just symbolizes so much. It's right here. You can go physically and touch it. You know, for those of us, you know, people that haven't traveled to Ground Zero, don't have the ability to travel to Ground Zero, because a lot of people can't. They just can't, you know, for work reasons, family reasons, financial reasons. They can't go to New York. They can come here and experience some of it right here, and they do. They come. You know, we've had visitors from all over the world who've stopped here for these September 11th ceremonies. It's amazing, you know.
Right.
They read about it in the paper. They come, and we've had people from all over, and it's nice to be able to come into the fire station and have that available to do that. And people come in all the time, and some of them don't even know it's here. They're here for business purposes, and then they see it.
It's like, wow.
You know, yeah, it can be overwhelming. People actually, you know, go to tears over it.
Sure.
We've seen that.
I'm sure. Well, Chief, I thank you so much for allowing us to come in and witness this ceremony today, and thank you so much for all you do for the town and for your time today as well.
Thank you very, very much for your assistance in joining us this morning. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much. Hyannis Fire Chief Brunell, I'm Sarah Colvin.